the fastest way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
Yeah,
like that. And it's true. Like if you prepare a meal for a man early on, that's a big deal.
What's up, everyone? How are you doing? This is Tree, treeoflardy.com. Welcome to my channel, Just Tree 411. I have my good buddy BJ here, aka the Big Bad Bear Jew.
What's up, everyone? Yeah, glad to be back.
Yeah, it's so great
to have you. It's been a long time.
Yeah, when was the last time I did an interview with you? It was for the political. It was 2 years ago. Has it been that long?
Year and a half, maybe. Something like that.
Probably, no, you're right. I think it is either a year and a half or 2 years because I didn't do it last year because last year you were on my panels. You know, that's when I start bringing you on my panels often.
And we got one Sunday.
Yeah, and yes, we have one this Sunday. And I do believe that's when I think that's because I knew you like beforehand to bring you on this, that, and the other. So, by the way, congratulations on the wedding and your new wifey, your hubby.
New wife, although I will say, so, because last time I talked to you about it was a while ago at the wedding.
Right.
So legally married, but coronavirus, even in Florida, fucked up the wedding venue because people weren't going to fly down and all that shit. And so have to postpone it towards later on. Okay. But still married though.
Yeah. A lot of people, because of the coronavirus thing, a lot of people are doing the legal thing at the courthouse and then having the actual ceremony at a time when it's best when other people can travel because of the coronavirus, when the mask mandate and all that. But they're lifting them now, so that seems to be good. Over here in Georgia, you know, the mask mandate been lifted, and in Florida, I think they lifted it also last year too. Texas just now came around to lifting it a little late. I can't believe they had it this late, but.
Well, now the CDC came out, which is all political. It's like, okay, people are not going to listen to us anymore. We need to at least act like we're still in control. Yeah. Like, oh, so now you guys can now wear masks. Like we're already on that page. That's what it is. True. It's like because if they say things and no one's listening to them, then their authority slips. So like, okay, don't wear it. Yeah, don't wear it because we said so.
Yeah. So that's so true. That is so true. That is so true. So. I started my channel for right-wingers, conservatives, those who are on the right-leaning, who believe in traditionalism. There's a lot of, now I have no intentions on like marketing to a certain type of huge following. It is going to be like a small exclusive group, and that's what I want us to be. I talked about this with iHypocrite, and I said, listen, all these conservatives are like, we have to appeal to the centrists, we have to appeal to the left. I don't want to appeal to modernism. I don't want to appeal to feminists, and I really don't want these people with us. What are your thoughts about some of these traditional conservatives are saying that we should water down our beliefs and cultures to fit the narrative or to include the people from the left, from the modern left?
So this is something that we talked about before. And like, it really comes down to like principle versus utility, how effective the strategy is. And I think there does need to be a balance. You're more on the principle side, and I lean a little more towards the utility side. I think we had talked about this before when it came to like Turning Point and how they'd have like black like only groups and Hispanic only groups.
But I hate that's identity politics, and I couldn't. That's the
thing. That's the thing. It's like that violates our principles.
Yeah.
However, it's also extremely effective in order to get people on our side. And so I can definitely see your opinion. I think it is.
Come on.
For sure.
Do you understand that the only person, excuse us guys, we got to do this political thing real quick. You understand that he only raised about 4% of the black vote because black people are extremely tribal. So I think he went.
But how much of it would have went down if it wasn't for that? I mean, up 4%, but it could have been way down because of all the neo-Nazi, all that sort of thing. All I'm saying is this: is that there has to be a balance. I definitely understand about sticking to principle, and I agree. It's like that goes against our principles. right? So going to what you're saying about traditionalism is like, well, yeah, we can maybe frame things in a way that's more palatable to their side, but like
I don't want them there. Come on, I don't want them here.
We need to make them see the light.
I don't care about these people.
People on the left aren't evil. They're just stupid and misguided.
And they want to stay
that way. They think that we're
way.
evil. They don't want. They want to feel good, and they want to make it feel like they want to make it feel like they're doing the right thing, even though they're destroying society. But when it comes, like the whole entire Caitlyn Jenner thing, running in California, right? That's something I disagree with. But on their side, like, oh, it's very effective because then we're going to have a transgender person on our side.
Who said that it was effective? I was against it.
I completely agree with you. A lot of Republicans, like
but see,
Tommy Loren, or however to say her name.
We have so many. One thing, and I got to be truthful, and you're going to agree with me. We have a lot of spineless Republicans. We have a lot of spineless conservatives who are like, oh, we gotta see. I can't stand that. And then what happened? She basically bit them in the butt. Telling herself, oh, we need to accept all the immigrants. Tear down the border wall. And I was like, see what happens. What happens? This is what happens when you cater to identity politics.
I don't know who she is, but yeah, Caitlyn Jenner. To be clear, I know it gets confusing sometimes, but let's not capitulate, Tree.
I'm so sorry. Caitlyn Jenner.
Every time I do it, I'm like, oh, damn it. I just accidentally, they got me. Because language is hard. That's why it's so effective. It's so hard.
That's
you see someone long hair pretending to be a woman, and it's very easy to say
shit. It is. I apologize, but that proves my point that person proves my point about identity politics. You are catering to people who just don't believe in our principles.
Yeah, and we've been finding out that running people who are very conservative actually does work, and people who are catering to the base does work. But Republicans keep pushing these people who are more like, oh yeah, I support Trump, but I also am cool with the transgender stuff. I'm cool with immigration.
Puberty blockers and all that other craziness.
I mean, that should disqualify you from the Republican Party.
Right.
And know what I hate the most? Asa Hutchinson, whatever his name was, and there's been another governor like him, who are just like, I mean, are we limited government people? Don't use that against us. we believe a function of government is to actually stop the evil that's happening, stop abusing children. That is part of their limited role. Yeah. But I don't want, this is not a political channel. I don't want to get,
I know. We can listen, that's our thing. You know what I'm saying? We can go on and on for that. But okay, this is a good exchange we're having here. Let me hear my argument, and then I want to hear your rebuttal. See, when you look at the things that are acceptable on the left, when you look at the things that are acceptable with the liberals only, with women basically brag. I talked with Trip. Trip was saying how he meets women who brag about how many threesomes they had, how many men they have opened their legs to. And it was the most craziest thing I have ever heard of. But now like, oh, that's right. He was dating liberal women. Because this is something I've never heard of before. That culture, that political ideology has that mentality of it is acceptable for mommy to be on OnlyFans while daddy takes pictures and be the webmaster. I don't want that over here.
Why do you say I have to give the rebuttal to this? I agree with you. Okay. But let me expand on that, because I'm living in Florida now. I was living in Chicago before that when I was single for 6 years. In Chicago, the dating market is all liberal. Like, you can never, like, if you're conservative, like everyone's just gonna hate you and no one's gonna match with you, right? Obviously, we're talking about Tinder and shit. I'm in my 20s. That's what people do.
Yeah.
And like the thing is like, I don't know if they think that it's a positive, but like to brag about sexual partners, but they don't understand that when guys hear that, and this is all guys, even I think liberal men hear this. I think that even liberal men aren't going to say anything about it. They're going to be like, "Wow, you go, girl. How many guys do you have?"
No. The liberal men's go like, "Oh, I'm definitely going to get laid now."
That's true. That's true as well. I know, because I have talked to some of my friends who don't get with many women, who don't have the interest from women, and they go, "Oh, why is the camera who guys have slept with?" It's like, "Oh, because that's all you care about." It's like, you care about a girl that's really easy, right? But if you're in the dating market looking for someone to actually get into a relationship with, then it's a different story. But yeah, I think that those women are just, they never hear the counsel. They never are privy to men's conversations. That's one thing, is that women don't hear what men talk about when men are one-on-one. Yeah. Right? And I feel like they don't have the fullest knowledge of what men are actually looking for. So, because like if you are a woman who's bragging about that sort of thing, then you have no conception of what men actually want. Men actually do have some sort of conception, because men will go on the internet and start researching and talking to other men, and sometimes it's wrong, but at least they're actually trying to look for that information. Like, oh, women want this, women want this. Women aren't doing the other side, which makes sense, because women don't really have to. Women don't necessarily have to attract men in order to have sex with them. They need to attract men in order to be in a relationship with.
True.
Right? Yes. And so they think that, oh, if a man is accepting of me, that means he's interested, without fully realizing, no, he just wants to, I can't curse.
Right.
Right? And so, and that's the other thing, is like women who have sex with a lot of men who are more like, high powered and like who might be kind of higher on the sexual marketplace. They think that, oh, this is the sort of guy I'll eventually get married to. But it's a different story, especially if you're in your early 20s and you're dating, having sex with some rich lawyer or doctor, and then time you're 30, I think it's to do that. You can have sex with them, but you're not going to get them to marry you.
Why would he? He has a high value woman that basically is conducting herself like a woman that is basically that fits according to his lifestyle, his culture, his cliques. You see what I'm saying? If a woman is quick to open her legs, he'll take it. Every dog's gonna go for that bone. But the thing about it is that that is something he will not respect her and say, oh, this is someone I want to make my wife and have baby. Not the millionaires. You got the simps that'll do it, but not these type of high scale guys.
Back when I was single, if there's really two other types of women. There's women who will not put up right away. Usually, honestly, from a religious background. That's pretty much when you're going to see that. Yeah. And a lot of the girls that I dated in Chicago who were in that zone were Muslim. I would say there's three of them, right? Yeah. And so at the end of the day, I dated one girl for a year, and they could never go farther because her parents never accept me because she's like Palestinian. You
dated a Muslim?
Yeah, a very progressive Muslim too.
How did that work?
This is back in the day. It was cool. We can argue with each other. Some people are. Here's the thing: if I have the conservative men listening, when you talk to a girl first, keep it light, keep it real light, and then once they see that you're not evil, and then start sneaking some review points. Like you want to be honest with them. At first, keep it light, and then once they see you're not evil, because I have a lot of girls who if I said my beliefs, they'd be like, oh my God, you Nazi. But after they already like me, they're like, oh shoot, now I have to listen to these ideas, right? So you have to start slowly, because a lot of young women, especially in big cities, 90% of them are going to be Democrats anyway. And the other ones are kind of harder to find.
Yeah, but don't you go to places where a typical I don't know California. I know a little bit about New York because I spent a lot of my summers as a child in New York. So why not go to the rural areas of New York, or places where conservative women were more likely be?
Well, even amongst conservative women, a lot of conservative women now aren't necessarily. There's two types of conservative women: there's Republican women, and there's conservative women. A lot of Republican women who may like Trump and might be for the message aren't necessarily the conservative.
Yeah, true. The conservative, I blame Trump for that one.
And that's true. But by the way, when we're talking, we're focusing on women. I do think limiting sexual partners is a good idea for other reasons, for men and for women. When it comes to pair bonding, we can maybe talk about that later.
Yeah,
but when it comes to women in particular, it's you might have a lot of people who are on the right, but don't really buy into the conservative traditional lifestyle, right? And I'm sure we can talk later about the different gender roles and that sort of thing. But when it comes to sexuality itself, at least, so I was actually you distracted me when you attacked it for dating a Muslim girl. But I was gonna say that.
Look, a Jewish man and a Muslim girl, that's something I've never seen before in my life. It's how did that work?
I dated two Palestinian women. It was kind of fun, but I don't know if you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm not gonna go into that reference, but
no, I never watched that show. I heard it was good.
Well,
I heard it was good, but I don't know what that show.
There's an episode. Maybe some of your viewers understand, whatever. But the other type of girl, right, is I've met a couple of girls who have been like, start understanding like, oh my god, like a lot of guys are just using me for sex. I shouldn't start a relationship with sex because that makes them just think that I'm some whore who is not like, you know, the girlfriend material.
Yeah.
But then they'll frame it like, you know, like I've done that too many times in the past. So with you, I want to take things slow. And it's like that also sounds kind of bad to a guy because it's like I've given up to so many guys, but I can't do it to you because I like you too much. And I've had that happen to me, and it's like, wow, well, that's not appealing either. So for a woman with a higher amounts of sexual activity, just don't mention it. I mean, I would say don't mention it. I mean, as a man, if you have certain flaws, bring that out a little bit later. It's okay to keep the first couple of dates light. I mean, never lie. You know, never lie about things. Like, don't say you make a lot of money when you don't, right? But keep things light, and then as things progress, you let some of the more serious things out about you. Not too far into it. Not too far into it.
It seems to me that these women and men, but mostly women, are just hypocrites because you see there's a big deal of women that are now fetishizing of having intercourse with men or who are Trump supporters. It's like, have you seen that big old article today? And I don't know who did it. It's like, help. I can't help but want to have sex with Trump supporters. Like
I don't know about today. I've seen a million of those. So
like what? Like I don't understand. Like what makes them? You know, it's like, okay, now they're a fetish now. It's like what's going on?
I think they just know that the men on their side try so hard to be an ally. First off, these men, if you get too drunk, will take advantage of you. It's like they're not actually like the good guys.
No.
They're the guys that's like, you know, I'm an ally and like I respect women and like women. I always say that women can have a subtle sense than men do.
Yeah.
And women can kind of sense these subtle things of men's communication that other men necessarily can't.
Yeah.
A woman's communication in general is just more subtle, while men's is a little more direct.
Yeah.
So women can sense when it's like, you know, not that they put it into words, but it's like, this guy is probably, my instincts are telling me not the guy I probably want to sleep with. He sounds like he seems a little bit secretive. Whereas a Trump supporter, they go, okay, well, that's might be the enemy, but that's like the pure man who believes what he believes is going to say it. And that's attractive to a lot of women. I mean, when it comes to what men and women are attracted to, obviously there's a lot of variation.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, most women are on the same page of wanting a leader, of wanting a guy who isn't afraid to speak their minds and who's not afraid to talk to the men and defend them. I mean, people, you know, guys listening in the audience, the first time another guy like says something around your girl and you defend her and you do it in a nice, strong way, that's the wettest she'll ever be. That's what women really want to see.
That's
like
true.
They want you to be able to defend them. And not to be the type that gets, you know, the guy looks over and you get in their face about it. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about legitimate circumstances. Women do want that sort of man, no matter what they say.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is that we're creating a society of women who act like men. And I believe that opposites attract in certain features.
True.
And if you have these women out there who act like the strong, dominant man, and they want a strong, dominant man, it's never going to work out for them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and they're going to be unhappy in the relationship.
Yes.
And so if you want a leader, then you need to be the more submissive type for that leader. The caveat to that is
they have this mentality of no, he's not in charge. We are equal. You know, they are so in love with that word equal. It's their favorite word in the dictionary.
I also believe in equal, but I think that they're completely using it wrong. So take me and my wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
The goal is not that we share 50-50 responsibilities. It's that at the end of the day, we both feel like we're contributing equally. And it could be in different ways,
mm-hmm.
right? And so it doesn't have to be like one day I wash dishes, one day you wash dishes, right? Like I will go in I just bought a new house, so I'll go and mow the lawn, right? I'll be the one that if you feel uncomfortable with something, I'll go do that, right? Something that I don't like to do and you like to do, then you do that, right? These are the sort of things that you sort of compromise on. And then it does end up being those traditional roles of like, okay, well, if you want to be the one that ends up taking care of our children, which, you know, by the way, I plan on having a big family and 5 babies and all that stuff soon. Just give me a year. Just gotta get settled on all these things. Yeah.
You just moved.
But I've been hectic for me the past couple of years, but now I'm settled down. I would love to, you know, be in my kids' lives all the time. But in the day, my wife is going to be better at that than me. It's going to be the nurturer in ways that I can't be. And so even though my wife's an eye doctor, whenever I say my wife's a doctor, I feel like Ben Shapiro, by the way.
Please don't do what he does. My wife's a doctor. My wife's a doctor. Did you know my wife's a doctor? My wife's a doctor. My wife's a doctor.
I'm just very impressed with my wife, so I have to keep talking about it. But like, even though, you know, she makes good money, it's like, okay, well, I want you to be closer to the kids, and I'll go and step into that role. And again, as long as we're both contributing equally when it comes to effort, then that is the equal we're talking about. Not the equal as in everything needs to be split. Like, you don't need to make half as much money as me, or like, you know, the same amount of money as me, and we're going to do this. Like, we need to both contribute equally in effort. So that's what I believe in the equal part.
I look at it differently. I totally see your equal, and I totally understand and get it. Yeah, I don't look at my relationship that way. I look at my role as a woman and his role as a man. And yours is, I hear yours is the same way, but you do put yours as equal. When in my relationship, here are my roles. Here are his roles.
Yeah.
And if we come and we butt heads of something that he disagree with and I disagree with, then basically, because I chose him as my king, he has the last word. He go ahead. He will make the final decision, and I will go along with it because, you know, I have to trust his decision because, you know, he's in my life. I chose him to be my king, so that's the reason why I kind of figure it that way.
I agree with you, and that's kind of the same way as for me as well. When it comes to the important decisions, I'm going to make them. But there's actually a lot less important decisions than there are everyday decisions.
That's so true, yeah.
So for example, we're renovating my house right now because I bought an older house with a lot of land, 2 acres. Oh, my goodness. It's beautiful.
Stop it!
Now I'm bragging on the house now. I only moved here 6 days ago. I got to talk about it. Anyways.
Oh, my gosh!
The thing is that now that we're looking at doing things to the house, right? I don't really care that much how the kitchen looks.
Right.
She's the cook. Do whatever you want with the kitchen. You know, I'll pay for it. Just whatever you do. I'm not gonna. My input is not really that important when it comes to that.
Right.
When it comes to things that she cares about, then I'm gonna let her make those decisions.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But the big serious decisions about where we live in the first place, because I want to be close to a good school zone, which is fucking hard. Sorry for cursing. Which is very difficult here because I'm in Florida and the public education is not good, and I don't want to send all my children to private school.
You don't want your child to go to private school?
I would like to, just pricey if I want to have a lot of children, and so I've thought about doing some maybe dual homeschool versus there's some lottery schools near me. There's for people out there, there's options. They're just difficult to get into, and some of it involves luck. And depending on where you live, you might have a good public school education, public school there. I'm in Florida. It's kind of bad throughout, even without like all the Marxist stuff coming into our school system. Even without that, it can be kind of bad.
Yeah.
But I'll make the big decisions about more important things, and she'll make a lot more of the smaller ones because she cares about those things.
Yeah.
And so it's never like when we're together, it's never like, oh, you always, it's your say. It's your say. I don't get to decide anything because at the end of the day, she probably has more decisions than me. I just have the important ones. Or even on those small things, I have the final say.
Right.
But why would I care what countertops you want in the kitchen?
Right.
But she does. So it's her decision. Go ahead. You want butcher block? Go ahead. All right, whatever. As long as I can have nice dinners and just keep on cooking for me, yeah, sure.
Yeah, we love
Whatever.
cooking. We love cooking for our men. We just freaking love it. You know what I'm saying? And what I'm doing is getting the women to get used to cooking, because a lot of times while they are single or in their just regular dating, I want them to start practicing cooking for themselves instead of doing Uber Eats or going out to do delivery or carry out or whatever. I want them to be familiar with cooking because of my diet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I 95% of my time is in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? So I have to cook, you know what I'm saying, because I can't eat at there's so many restaurants around here and fast food, and the only thing I can eat close to what is healthy for me as a vegan is a Panera bread restaurant, and they're not even open after 8 o'clock. So you know what I'm saying, it's really hard. So these are the things that I want and women to do, and it feels good. It feels good when you cook for someone and that you care for.
But if you never cooked before, it can be intimidating.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is that like so a lot of women don't understand that like doing certain what's the expression? The fastest way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
Yeah.
Like that. It's true. Like if you prepare a meal for a man early on, that's a big deal. Especially if you do like a really nice job. Like men are extremely impressed by that.
Yeah.
Right. And so like talking about the Palestinian girl I dated in the past, we had great conversations, very attractive. When I went to replace her partner was a disgusting mess. She couldn't cook at all. And it was like, where are we gonna go today? What place? It's like, did your kitchen even work over here? And it's like those qualities, like being clean. Listen, being clean as a person is important, but as a woman, it's especially important. And like you don't have to be a professional cook, but the effort of going through cooking meal itself. I mean, if you do good cooking, even better. But like being able to cook for your man is such an important thing that can't really be overstated. There's something primal about it. I'll pay for the meat. I'll pay for the steaks. I'll pay for this. You cook it. Perfect partnership. It really something is primal about it.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to stop judging you for dating that.
Excuse me. I was in downtown Chicago. What options do you think I had down there? I was there for 6 years. How many like good girl conservatives you think I was seeing?
Okay, you get a pass, then. Get a pass. I want to jump on something I want to piggyback on something that you said I hope we talk about. And that is low body count for men and women. I also stress this for men, I'm like, listen, I do not consider it a good thing that you have all of these body counts, because when I think about a man with lots of partners, I think about STDs. And the thing about it is that if you don't like that in women, why would women want that in a man?
Well, I don't care about STDs because you can get that cured, but like I'll give a different take on that. I mean, to answer the immediate question is that men and women are looking for different things, and I think that when a woman looks at like a man who's a virgin in today's culture,
true,
that can sometimes be viewed as a bad thing.
We don't
Not that it should be.
How either though.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. So when it comes to non-sexual partners, and this is something that's like you think that the left's pushing for like sexual education, they should talk about the effects of sex.
Yeah.
When you have sex, you release certain hormones. For women, it's mostly oxytocin.
Yeah.
For men, it's oxytocin and vasopressin. These two things do different things. Oxytocin is that loving, bonding relationship.
I've learned about this in my chat the other day. They was educating me on this because I can't understand how, and they were saying this because of the testosterone level. I was like, listen, why is it that some women can do not feel a bond? Like some women, I tell women, make sure he's your best friend first so you don't get hurt if you have sex with someone and then they dump you, you know what I'm saying, because you got emotionally connected. And that's when it was telling me that it's oxytocin is the reason why. I was like, because I can't relate to that, you know what I'm saying?
It's all I never heard of it before, because I'm pretty sure I have a whole video about it, but you know, whatever. You can maybe
I guess I will put that in the description box, okay? I will definitely do that.
I'll do the spiel about now.
Okay, great.
So
I'll still put the description. I'll still put the link down there too.
Women and men, both produce. I don't even know what the video is. It's probably, anyways. Women and men both produce oxytocin. Men also produce vasopressin. Oxytocin is that bond that mother and child have. Works a little bit differently in sexual partners, but it bonds you to someone. Everyone can remember their first sexual partner. My first girlfriend was the worst person on the face of the planet, and I could make a great argument about it, but I don't have the time here. We were terrible for each other, right? But I still had such a strong bond here, and I hated it, right? And so there is maybe some negatives of sleeping with someone before you really get to know them, right? Like, I'm not saying you sleep with someone, you got to marry them. Right. However, that bond was so strong, right? The more sexual partners you have, the more so that bond is starting to deplete. The classic example of that is that, like, you put a tape down on the wall, right? And you rip it off. Okay, you can put it back on the wall. It's a little bit less strong. Rip it off. If you keep on doing that to your wall, it's lose any sort of bonding ability. I really think this is at the core, amongst some other things, at the core of why divorce rates are so high. Divorces are usually initiated by women, and women who have slept around a lot aren't going to have the same sort of bond that you need to get through hard things in marriage. Hard things are going to pop up. If you're ready to leave at a moment's notice, then it's different than if you're in it for the long run, right?
True.
And so that's oxytocin. Vasopressin, which men release. I mean, both men and women release both, but I guess way different proportions. Vasopressin is more of a possessive sort of bond. Like, I mean, it really is like, this is my property. That's why you get so I don't know if you've heard, like, when they do studies, it's like women. So if you had to choose between two options, a woman, your sexual partner having sex with another individual, or them not having sex with them, but like being extremely emotionally invested and like buying them presents and like telling them you're going to be my next person and all that. A lot of women will say that second one is worse, that emotional investment. But every man on the planet, most likely, will say the first option. I think Joe Rogan talks about this recently. And the reason behind that is because, like, when it comes to the possessiveness that men have, that's caused by the vasopressin, sexual possessiveness. We can get into the evolutionary origins of that, whatever. My theory is, I would have to imagine, is that vasopressin may not be depleted. I've had a lot of sexual partners. I don't think that's a good thing, and I learned a little bit too late. My oxytocin bonding, even with my wife, was a lot lower than 10 times lower, millions times lower than it was for my first girlfriend, who was an idiot, right? It was awful for me, right? But the vasopressin bonding has been the same as it's been forever. But that bonding is not that necessarily that, the oxytocin sort of like gooey sort of love, right? So I have like the rational love sort of bond. I also have that vasopressin sort of bond. So while I think that having a lot of sexual partners is bad for both of them, I do think it is worse for women. Yeah. At the end of the day, are these vapid, short-lived experiences that you have early on in life worth the damage you're doing to, most important thing, your marriage and to your family later on? Like, I could say when I was younger, like, oh man, I could talk to my boys back, oh, remember that night? Oh, that was so fun. What happened later? But it was only a night. And I'm going to let that, and that's like it deplete my bond with my wife later on in life, sounds crazy. Right. When you're young and you don't think about these things, especially if you don't know the results of it. And most people do not know the results of this. Again, why don't we teach that in sex ed? You think you would. Sexual education. Instead, we teach about spermicidal lube. Like, I don't know if they even sell that. But that's what you got to learn about. They teach them more some other crazy stuff. I know. I don't want to know what they're teaching. We can't even talk about it. I don't want to know what they're teaching now. So I don't want to talk about it. You're getting me too upset. But yeah, so when it comes to bonding, like, a lot of people find this out too late. But bonding is extremely important. The downside is this, is that in today's society, finding people, if you limit your own sexual partners, and then you go into the dating market, you're not going to find that many people like you. Right. And so you actually put yourself at a disadvantage if you're the one that bonds extremely hard to them and they have a lesser bond, because then they have a leverage relationship. If they don't have this, what I tell women is, he must be your best friend looking for a serious long-term relationship leading to marriage before you open your legs. And if these guys never even get into the friend zone, let alone the best friend zone, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, but then the caveat is that men are master manipulators when it comes to getting sex and will lie. And I've had so many friends.
That's true.
I've only heard it from my female friends who are friends with them, because they'll never fucking tell me. They're embarrassed.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, yeah, and he told me he loved me. I was like, wait, but this is like the third date. And I know for sure he didn't. He said that to try to do something. And luckily, like, you know, that story, particular girls, like I knew that was the BS. But guys could be more convincing. Guys could be more convincing. Right?
I think
after they get it, then the tables turn. And I'm sure a lot of women listening could probably relate to that.
Oh, yeah. The reason why I know is because my father was a master manipulator. He was married twice while I was living with him with my stepmom, who was an angel. My father was not a good husband, and I've seen him run game, and I've seen it. And I wonder, so now I'm going to ask you a question. So now that I gave you that background, right? You said you loved your first. Me and my first was even in a relationship until I went to college, and I came back to, I did not love him. And you want to know something? When I look at my life, I've only been in love twice. I don't fall in love easy. And I wonder, does it have anything to do with the fact, and by the way, I ain't no hoe either, but the thing about it is that it's only been 2 times I've been in love deep. You know what I'm saying? The first one was a Christian. And when we were together, you know, he was an okay Christian. But when he became saved, sanctified, and highly favored, he was like, you need to come to Jesus or I'm going to have to let you go. And that broke my heart so bad. I was madly in love with that man. So it's like,
it's a gigantic bond. Yeah.
Oh, God, I swear. But it's like, so what do you say about women like me who just don't fall in love easily?
So,
and we don't have a high body count either.
I don't want to get into the whole entire discussion of like what love is, because that's like no one has answers to that, right?
True, yeah.
But because you said about me that I was in love with my first. I don't think I used those words. I said I had a strong bonds.
Oh, to me, I'm sorry. You sure did. That's right.
Yeah, because
I took your word to bond. See how I'm a woman? I hear bond, and you said bond, and I heard love.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, like, I think I would have said love back then. But I think my view is now is that love comprises of that rational bonds and that emotional animalistic bonds.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I think that you need both to really have that. I mean, it might feel like love, but like I don't even remember my first girlfriend. Like I don't.
Really?
It's like I don't remember much women besides my wife anymore.
Okay.
Like, for some
that's a good
reason,
thing.
I'm not just saying that because she might watch this later. I'm not just saying that. Like I just really don't. Even my most recent, like or at least like the feelings I had, I don't remember at all. So was it love? I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
The first girl I ever said I love you to, I meant it, was my wife. I got pressured to say it to like a couple other girls, but you know, that's a long story. But when it comes to not falling in love easily, I mean, it's a couple things. The first is that to fall in love is not just, number one, it's not just sex. Number two, it's not just dating for a long time. There's a lot of intangibles. Mm-hmm. And those intangibles are that, okay, like, first off, you have to let yourself be vulnerable, which you can't do to just anybody. Like, in order to fall in love, you need to be the person to let loose in a way. I'm not saying physically, I'm saying like emotionally, to let them in. Yeah. Right? And if you're not going to, then you're not going to be able to fall in love. Because they need to be able to get to that inner part of you that other people don't see. And so it could be the thing that, like, okay, well, you have to get to a certain level, but maybe not all the way there. But that's the whole sort of thing. It's a caveat, because you can't let someone do that unless you trust them. Because once someone gets there, then you're done. Then they got you. Right. Yeah. So I think that making yourself vulnerable is how you get there, like extremely in every sense of the word. But again, there's always a balance to these things, because you can't do that right away. Mm. Some women do that right away. Yeah. And those are the girls that just go, I'm in love. Oh my God.
And they get hurt just like that.
And they get hurt every month or so.
Yeah.
Right. And we all know girls like that. And it sucks because like they're wired to find that partner moving forward. Because 5,000 years ago, a woman, if she had sex with a guy, it was probably the case that they were going to be bonded, because if it didn't happen, then their tribe would go kill the man. You know, the girls probably would kill him. So it's like it probably happened anyway, right? Yes. We don't have that sort of society anymore. When I was young, my parents are a little bit more liberal. My sister's living boyfriend lived with us when she was 16. And I still tell my parents about that now. As I hear stories about that sort of thing all the time.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
So my parents are Trump supporters now. But back then, this is the 90s. So you know, all the 90s Democrats are now pretty much over here because, you know, things have changed.
Yeah, because they changed. They went batshit crazy.
What's the thing is that when you believe in, you know, free love and like all parents think like, well, as long as they're protected with birth control, then what's the harm? There's a lot of harm because sex is the most powerful thing you can do with another human being.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that it's just consequenceless, like, oh, pregnancy, right? Like, that's not it. That's not, I mean, like, listen, pregnancy these days is pretty easy not to get pregnant. The fact that so many of my friends have had babies unplanned is still mind-boggling to me. We know how to prevent it at this point, but that's besides the point. That's not necessarily, even today, the biggest consequence. I mean, obviously it is if you're not protected. The biggest consequence is the pair bonding. So you mentioned before about how there's some women out there who won't feel that, like, that do have a lot of sexual partners, that won't feel that they have to be they're instantly bonded with another man. Well, it's because once you have so many sexual partners, sex does become casual. It does become a casual thing that you could do and not necessarily feel attached to.
Right.
When I was in Chicago, and before I had my current mindset, I did get to that point, and sex was completely meaningless to me. But that's not a good thing to have because sex is a thing that bonds you to your partner. But you're a man,
though.
Right. So I'm saying it does affect men and women differently. But like, again, with my first, she was an awful person. Still had that huge bond, and the more sexual partners you have, the more it goes away. And I do think that you could recover that after a while. I think stopping watching pornography for men, very important. And also abstain. I mean, like, once you're with a partner for a long time, then I do think some of that glue can come back. Mm-hmm. But it's never going to be as strong as it could have been, you know?
How do you help? Because I have some women that I know that are in relationships that they have been in for over 13 years, and the love is there, but not the desire, not the, oh God, I like both of these ladies was like, they can check out of the relationship because the fire is gone. I don't know what to tell them because I can't relate.
Yeah, I mean, I relate to some degree because my opinion is this: is that I view a lot of things. I come to the same conclusions as religious people. So like on my social media, I'm constantly posting, people talking about the Bible because it's like, oh, I believe that too, so I'll post it. I came from like a very evolutionary perspective on things. Yeah. And if you look at that sort of point of view, is that like when a couple first starts having sex, there is a lust period. We used to call it the honeymoon period. Really refers to when people used to first start having sex, and then it's like, oh my God, it's amazing. Yeah. And you have probably the last 3 to 6 months of just like you want to have sex constantly. It's a complete lust stage because that was the stage our ancestors had. It's like, okay, obviously you bond, you're gonna get pregnant, and after a certain while, you should lose that a little bit because you can't be pregnant forever, right? Yeah. And then also you're gonna be pregnant.
So that's natural.
So you're doing it. I do think getting out of the lust period is because like you shouldn't. Okay. I can't imagine. I mean, there's probably some couples out there. I can't imagine 10 years into a marriage want to have sex 5 times a day. But there's been plenty of relationships I had where that was the case at first because that lust period. Now when it comes to getting the fire back, it's hard for me to say because I had only been with my wife for married for like maybe 5 years or something like that. Yeah. But again, I mean, if it sounds like they're complaining that it's more like the man not putting the initiative in, right? Yeah. Which makes things harder when you have other response. I mean, like your relationship changes after a while. It shouldn't be the same as in the beginning as towards the end. In the beginning, it is more of a sexual romantic thing, and after all, it becomes a sort of partnership to raise a family unit. You can't lose obviously sexual desire all at once, and the things that stop that, if the man's watching porn, well then he does have that desire, but he's
wasting it on that. Himself. Yeah.
If that is the case. Yeah. Also, have their appearances changed. A lot of people let themselves go.
I think married. One of them did say that her husband did gain weight, and
so she might not be as
Yeah.
And
But people keep telling me she's one of many women who, I hear these silly men talking about something, oh, the women gain weight. Yeah, that does happen, but they always exempt themselves from that equation as if like they never gain weight. And they have this stupid, this is what I'm talking about, modern men. Okay, just modern men believe that if they got money, they could be fat as all get out. I'm like, really? They think that they don't have to keep up their appearance, that they don't have to do anything but have money, and they're just going to get the women coming their way.
Well, let me just say, in most parts of the world outside of America, that is the case.
Is it really?
Yes. But here's the reason why, though. The reason why is because, like, women today
stop. Where is a beast man with money can get women?
Southeast Asia, all over Africa, any place that's third world, really.
Oh, okay.
But that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Europe and things like that. Like the issue is that like women naturally want a man who's going to be able to protect them. A lot of that is also to provide for them, right?
Yeah.
Women in America don't have that drive to like I'm gonna die if I don't marry this guy because I'm not gonna get food. No one has that job anymore. Women in this country are comfortable. And so, yes, women are attracted to men with money, but it's not the overbearing quality because they're not going to die. Exactly. But third world countries, that isn't going to be the case. Like, I love watching like 90 Day Fiance because my wife forced me to.
I do too now. I got hooked on it.
I also forced my wife to. But anyways, and a lot of those, I've also traveled out Southeast Asia, but like in those countries, like they'll marry a guy. It's like, why would I care what he looks like? I mean, if he can make sure my child doesn't starve, that's extremely attractive, right? And it's like, well, those countries are different than ours. So you're right. Like, money is attractive to women here, but it's not going to get you everywhere.
Don't you? What is your opinion? We're talking about 90 Day Fiance here. When they get these women from the third world country, when they get these women, those women, if they go into their country, if the American man goes into their country, he's going to be okay. But if he brings those women to America and they get Americanized, don't you think there's a chance of her realizing, oh, I can get divorced and just live my own life and get all the other guys who will want?
Yeah, so that's similar to a point Gavin McInnes has made. It's like a lot of people see these immigrants coming in and they go, oh, you need to assimilate to American culture. Well, American culture is to hate America. We're way less religious. We believe in family structure, I mean, as a whole, less, right? And so it may be that them assimilating in is kind of seeing those avenues. I don't really think it's definitely going to affect the second generation more than the first, obviously.
Okay.
Like living in the countries. I mean, like the thing about that is that men in particular, I think it's really just the men that go to these other countries because they know their stock is way, 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 way higher. Because it's not just what I look like, it's not how much money I make, which is more important in those countries, but it's also my citizenship. Yeah. And so that's weighing. That makes me, 6 inches taller.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like that's what my value going forward. And so it's, I understand why they do it. It could be a little unfair. Why do women go to other parts of the world to meet men? I don't exactly know. I mean, it definitely is more exciting. Like if you meet someone over there, like not if you're online dating there. If you meet a guy with a completely different culture, I understand that, right?
Well, there are two. I can add to that. Like when I went to Jamaica, I had no idea that there were a lot of women from Europe as well as some from America who are coming there to get their groove back, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? It was the most craziest thing I've seen. And so when they saw me, they thought I was one of these women. I was like, why would I pay for a man? Have you lost your mind? Did you see how sexy I am? I ain't gotta pay for nothing. It was like, it was such a culture shock for me in Jamaica that I was like, I did not know that this was a such thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big sex tourism also for women to go to countries like that. But it is kind of odd because, again, like if women really wanted to just have free sex, then they could do it in any part of the world they want.
They can do it in their own state, in their own city.
I think that part of it is for them is like the privacy of being able to do it. And also it's like if you're with someone and you're paying, they have a job to do, which is to make you feel sexy. And to do everything else. It's not just sexual,
point.
especially for women. Like men who frequent prostitutes, it's like some of them is the girlfriend experience. So a lot of it is just sex. Women don't want just a guy to go pound them out. It's like, okay, well, why don't you take me out, make me feel beautiful, make me feel special, and then be like the romantic counterpart later on, right? And so like you can't really arrange that as easily in your own home state if you're not paying for it.
True.
And then something seems a little bit sleazier. Well, I don't even know where as a woman you go to find like prostitute men in America. I'm sure it exists, but I just don't know.
They had a who was that? Showtime had a special about it. I don't think those men making any money though, because they charge $3.50 an hour, and I said to myself, they can't make money because this is not. When I went to look at an interview from one of those guys, they said that they cater to more of your business type women that are single or that are constantly traveling and they need that companionship. Yeah. They don't buy no hour. They basically have the money for more than that.
Yeah, and they say come hang out with me for the day on my off time if I have whatever. But it is sad. I always try to tell people, because I used to practice corporate law. I worked at Kirkland & Ellis doing mergers and acquisitions, and like the people who make the top partners of my law firm would make like $10 million a year. In order to get to that successful level, you need to be a psychopath. You really do. So you work 80 hours per week. Like I was working 80 hours per week as a junior associate, and do that for 30 years on edge. These people, they're not married or they're divorced, right? They're fat. They're probably still partying at times. A lot of them are talked to like, oh, this is my young girlfriend. It's like, whatever, good for you. It's kind of sad in the long run.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to these women in particular, I think it's even worse, because it's like, I always say this to women who, I don't really meet so many women personally like this, because I guess they're a little bit older than me.
Yeah.
But I'll always make this point, is that women who are in that professional world, it's like, I don't want to have kids. I just want to have a career and child, stuff like that. I always say, who is going to be on your deathbed? You think your best friends now, they're not going to be there. They're going to be with their children, right? And it's like, at the end of your life, are you going to look back and say, that trip to the Alps was amazing. I really, really enjoyed that spa I went to. You're going to look back and be like, everything I do is so meaningless and vapid. Like, again, like there's a difference between like being emotionally, healthily satisfied and happy, and then having enjoyable moments.
Yes.
And having I forget the word, but like you're looking for the short-term pleasure. Short-term pleasure does not create long-term happiness. We know this from drug users and again, like promiscuity, especially for women. Promiscuous women might have fun at that moment, and then okay, bye, and then it's like, oh, now I feel terrible myself. Or the next day, it's like, okay, back to being lonely again. And so like part of being
sociopaths are okay with that,
with working constantly for money
and being and dying alone.
I don't know if they're okay with it. I don't know if they realize it. Again, like you could have some of your siblings come, but it's like if you don't have your children with you, like I'm pretty sure that's sad. And I'm not talking about just on your deathbed. I'm talking about later on in life. As you're getting older, it's like no,
I disagree with that. I disagree with the children part, because there are sincerely people who just don't want kids.
No, I know. I definitely know. But I think that later on in life, a lot of those people might regret it. Is my point I'm trying to make. Because again, like the meaning you get from life.
Why would they regret it? Because they don't have nobody to die with.
That's more of the funny icing on the cake for that point. It's because your life. What is the meaning of life is a very broad question, but I'm pretty sure it's not to work in a corporate job, make a lot of money, and have a lot of fun. I think that is this idea that we need to just indulge ourselves as much as possible. The more indulgence you have, the better. But I think the meaning of life comes from having children and building something. Maybe those people think they're building a legacy, possibly, is what they're thinking. But what else do you call someone besides a psychopath that is 55 years old, has been working the past 30 years, 80 hours a week? Oof. And they have $50 million. What do you call these people? They don't need any more money. you need a certain amount of money to be happy. Like money does make you happy to a certain point, and then after that,
I think after a while, when you become a billionaire, it's just a game from then on out. Because now you have the chips now you have the strings to pull puppets.
Yeah, well, that's one thing. But also people control, like, this is rides a lot of liberal ideology. Sorry to talk about politics for a bit. But the thing is that, like, if you're, like your social circle, if you can be the top dog, like having that social status that people go after. If you're born, you have a lot of money, and you're not gonna, ever suffer, be homeless, and you don't have to really be stressed about things. A lot of it is, okay, I want the most amount of social status, right? That's what a lot of people who get pretty rich, we all know, but like, competing with the Joneses, it's different. It's different than that, because they go, okay, well, now I'm a high-powered attorney, and now I need to rank even higher, because I like when I was practicing law, I came in with like a bunch of other associates in my law firm, and it's like a lot of them are feeling, okay, well, now I want to be a partner, now I want to be this, because I want to have the social status of having that. For me, I was like, I'm already making enough money. I like to work less. I want to spend more time with family. So I couldn't get, when I was younger, I was all that power hungry alpha. All I wanted to do was sleep with women and make money. And once I started making money, I was like, okay, I don't think that this is the purpose of life.
You don't think that ever stops with men?
For some men, it doesn't. I know for me it did.
Yeah.
So, but like, you have to kind of realize.
Do you think because of you, it's because you're more health oriented? You know what I'm saying? See me, I'm very health oriented. It's like I'm not. I learned the hard way anyway. When I stopped, because I've always been health oriented for all my life, and then there was a time during, I think, 2018, 17 to 18, I just stopped. And then I paid the price for it because I got hospitalized for having a staph infection. It was just awful. And the thing about it is that after that, I went back to getting back into the health mind. And I've been blissfully happy. And I look at my life not as like, okay, I'm going to get fat and old. First of all, fat is not even going to be an equation, but I'm more happy and want to be healthier. So therefore, I'm taking care of myself now, not by being overworked, not by being overstressed. So maybe that's what you're going through too.
Well, there's a connection between wanting to improve your body, wanting to improve your career. The people who are like the go-getters, like a lot of people, especially when they're young, are the people like, oh, I want to be fit, I want to go to the gym, and I want to progress my career.
Yeah.
Once you get into those lifestyles, and you are right, because I was working so much, and like the thing is, it's not like just like I didn't have time to work out. It was also like when you're working a lot, and like my firm was paying for meals, and I just order a bunch of junk, restaurant nearby, and scarf it down while working. It's hard to stay healthy.
Yes.
So that was definitely part of it, like the health aspects of it for sure. But I mean, but it's more than that. It's that like guys will always want to have some sort of power, and I think that when men realize it's like, okay, well, your power can be your family and the legacy they provide. Like I would have had kids a couple years ago if it wasn't for me just traveling all over the place. Wasn't the right time. Now that I have a kid. Now that I have a house, sorry, that's the fifth time I mentioned it. Now I can apply to. Now I can start. Now I can start that, and that's all I think about is what I'm going to do for my children going forward. But I was routed differently before that. I was routed towards how much money can I make, and again, like to make the point, like a certain amount of money will make you happy, but after that, it's marginal. I'm at that level. I don't need to make more money. It's not going to make me happier.
What makes men want to continue going though? That's what I want to understand.
I mean, I think a lot of it is the social status.
Okay.
And especially because like men's social status does also get them women, right? So especially for single men. I mean, listen, when I was younger, I was like, okay, well, I'm already tall and I work out, but once I'm a lawyer, boy howdy. And so I was like, once I make some more money, what's up? And then I guess I'm talking to Adam, I'm saying, yeah, getting out of shape was part of me leaving. Also, me and my wife was part of it because I was like, why? Like, I need to be able to afford having a lot of children, but I don't need to be able to afford going out to nightclubs and going to VIP anymore.
Yes, true.
Like, why do I need to be doing that stupid stuff? Once you get involved in that lifestyle, then everyone's trying to, get women and impress them and all that. And I was like, I kind of found it disgusting after a while.
Yeah.
And I've never I kind of realized as we were talking, I'm pretty sure I wore this shirt on your last podcast because I only have like 5 shirts. I don't buy a lot of things. I don't buy nice things. I bought myself a nice shirt.
Wait a minute, I don't remember. That was 2 months ago where you just changed in the middle of.
I put on my Proud Boys shirt because someone else did. And I wanted to take my shirt from the podcast and pretend like I didn't know you guys were watching as well.
Great. I'm sorry. I was over there paying attention. I was like, I woke up real quick. I'm like, yes.
I did a mock like, oh, they can't see me. Now they can't see me. Now I can do this all slick with my little mock. Like, oh, you can see. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. Put the thing down.
That was so funny.
I think the conversation was getting boring, so I was like, all right, I need to change the subject.
Yeah, because I was just staring at the panel like, okay.
all right, keep going. All right, fine.
All right, so here's the last question because we're about to wind down to an hour. So what do you, because I have a lot of women who are watching this, and I have a lot of women who are interested in relationships that will lead to marriages, and some of them are in. I'm so yes, we got some of our women that are in serious relationship leading to marriage. What is your suggestion as a man to the other traditional women who are single?
It's difficult, but I think dating apps like Tinder, or there's a lot more of them that are less Tindery. There's like Coffee Meets Bagel, which is like the standards of going at lunch. The thing is this, you'll find everyone on there. As a woman, you have control of the sexual marketplace. You do, whether you realize it or not, right? And so me and my wife met on Tinder, right? Like,
what?
Yes. Tinder's not just a hookup app. That's what I'm saying. It's
yes, it is, isn't it? I'm speaking from ignorance. I don't know nothing about Tinder. I don't do the hookup apps. You know what I'm saying? I met my man at a gym convention, a gym. Our gym had a picnic for the gym members, and I met him there.
I think that's a little bit like lucky because, like, especially if you're living, like, I'm not saying you live in a big city, but if you live away from a big city, you have like less like kind of options as well.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people, you'd be like, oh, that's a man who I might see myself with. Oh, you're married or your girlfriend or whatever, right?
You're the second person to meet their wife off of Tinder.
A lot of people do. But anyways, listen, so Tinder is more general, but I don't care about Tinder, dating apps, whatever it might be, right? As a woman, you have the ability to control the sexual marketplace. And well, if you go on those apps, you might match up with 50 guys, and 48 of them might be like, send me pictures, right? That's probably going to happen, right? Because, a lot of guys are looking for that.
Okay.
Almost every guy is looking at sex right away. But you don't have to. And that guy probably not going to leave if you have other qualities that he likes. And especially if you frame yourself as the person that he can see himself with, right? And you have the certain qualities, like men are attracted to women who are more submissive. That doesn't mean that you're a pushover. That means more like, I believe that a man should be a leader. That, like, I have certain roles.
She
like
says this in her, so.
No, maybe not at first. But like, you could kind of hint at that sort of thing.
She puts this in her profile. I'm trying to
ask on a profile, you definitely should, I think.
Okay.
That you should let them know. Men, when they see women's profile, men are swiping on appearance.
Absolutely.
And so once they get to that profile, if they are just looking for sex, and you say something like, don't be like an ass about it, but like, no sex on the first date. You just have to hint at that, be more subtle, and be like, I'm a conservative woman, I'm looking for a future husband, and you describe yourself, right?
Yeah.
That, to me, if I saw that and I was looking just to have sex, I would be like, oh, okay, I guess this girl's not going to put out. Why am I going to spend my money on a date, right? You're going to filter that out. As a woman, you go on those apps, you're gonna get a million hits, even if you're ugly.
The women, I've trust me, I've seen them. I have some friends that have some liberal friends, I don't like them, and that's good. They like me. Have you ever had that people who you don't like, but they like you and they want to get to know you better and this and the other, blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
Everyone likes me, so I always have that problem.
Yeah, that's true. You very likable. It's true, you are very likable. This woman was obese with short orange hair. And she was like, I'm going on my next Tinder date. I'm going on my next Tinder date. I'm going on my next Tinder date. I'm like, ew.
Well, she might have made it known that she was, able and willing to do whatever you wanted. Like she could have made it. If she put that in her profile, it'd be a little bit harder. But she could still get some guys. Guys are more malleable what they're looking for. Guys can adapt.
Oh, you poor man. I feel so sorry for the guys now, dude. It's really. I really do feel so sorry for them.
Well, I feel sorry for both sexes for a lot of different reasons, but we don't have too much time today. I'll just say to answer your question is that you could make a guy see you in that way by acting feminine, by being friendly. When a guy starts pushing, because even for me. Like but every single girl would always be the more aggressive. Like I was just trying to sex the girls again because I didn't have my same ideology I had back then. And then as a woman, it's your job to be able to know how to counter that. Not in a way that's like you're an asshole, don't fucking touch me. But again, like you women are more subtle than I am. Kind of shift away a little bit, still be friendly about things, right? Let them know, okay, well, not just yet, not verbally, but kind of like through body language. No, it's not the time just yet. A guy can pick up on guys are hard-headed. Yeah, they can pick up on those sort of things. And if they're not picking up on it after a long time, that's because they just want to have sex. Yeah. So again, it should be a filter mechanism. Yeah. Right. Especially because a lot of guys are paying for dates anyway. It's not that big of a deal to go and filter that on the date. As long as you make it known, this type of girl I am. It's not immoral or anything like that, right? And so since you have the ability to filter that out, like you can meet good guys through those apps. And guys will be more attracted to you if you're not easy. Every guy will.
I am so shocked to hear about this Tinder stuff because there's a guy on Twitch named Lecture Fan. He married his wife and he met her on Tinder.
Yeah, because Tinder is not just a hookup app. Most people will use it as that, and there's definitely a lot of hooking up on there. It's not like Grindr. It's not like that.
That's different. That's a different app, though. That's forbidden.
But it could be Bumble or Coffee meets Bagel.
See, I just learned about Bumble. I don't know any of these. That's why I think I'm gonna bring somebody who's really good with dating apps because I'm terrible with them. I don't know anything about them.
Basically, is when you put the same profile, you put it on. You put out the stuff about yourself and you see matches. But even in person, when it comes to dating in person, right? It's all about networks. Like you kind of got lucky by finding him your man at you said it was a
picnic for that gym.
Picnic. Yeah. That's luck. You got lucky. Yeah. It's hard to meet someone.
Yeah, because he doesn't even work. I didn't even know he was a part of my gym because he works out at a different total time than I come in here.
Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he came just for you. Who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe he joined later on.
Who knows? We don't know.
You're like, okay, I'm about to get in the gym now, do a workout. He's like, oh, I'll get you next time. Do you have any guest passes, actually? Yeah. But, meeting in person is all about networks, right? Mm-hmm. And so, you need to, if you want to meet good guys, is to meet, you have to have female friends that know those groups of guys.
Yeah.
Right? And we will introduce you. That's a harder way of doing it.
Yeah.
Than dating apps, honestly. Because
that's a good idea, though. No, I like it.
But I think that women, especially as they get older, it's a lot easier for men to find friends, in my opinion, than it is for women to find friends past a certain age. There's less opportunities. For men, I go invite people out to the gym. I will go, I'm in certain organizations I can just hang out with different dudes. But men have more bonding activities they can do together, I think, than women do.
Yeah, and also, I think it's even because there's a lot of things women can do that are bonding together.
I was also say that women can kind of, if there's one thing they don't like about the other person, they can kind of fixate on it. And they could also be like, okay, well, I don't like her for this reason. She's not necessarily good enough. There's a lot more subtle things in female relationships that I don't understand that more women do. Yeah. Where men will more give each other the benefit of the doubt.
True.
And so, if you say something, because, it's a common thing with friendships. It's men will make fun of each other, right? like what's the line? Is that men will say awful things to your face and nice things behind your back, and women will say nice things to your face and awful things behind your back. Yeah, and so it's harder for women because a women they first meet are not super direct.
Yeah.
It's more like we've seen plenty of women where it's like, oh my god, my best friend was met tonight, we're gonna be best friends, all this sort of stuff. You know, whatever, that happens sometimes. But those drunken sort of friendships, well, that doesn't happen all the time. So the network thing is important. That's just really hard to do. But I knew plenty. Like, once my guy friends have girlfriends, and then they go, oh, I'll introduce you to this person. That's how a lot of those things get started.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, I think dating apps are a good.
I like that though.
Solution. They're a good solution as long as you know how to play the game of understanding what they're after, understanding what you need to do in order to get the right dude.
That's awesome. That's cool. All right. Wow. Definitely gonna have to bring you back. Part 2.
Do it again.
That's a definite. So don't worry, ladies and gents.
Let's do it.
We're gonna bring them back. So okay. So thank you so much, BJ, for coming by.
Yeah, it was great. It was fun. I'm disappointed only an hour. Usually our podcast went for like 4 hours.
I know.
So I was ready to go. I took a caffeine pill before coming on. I was like, I'm gonna be up for a while. I forgot how long we were going on for.
No, I told you I was going to use it for only an hour, no more than 1:15. You know what I'm saying? Just save that energy for this Sunday. So we're gonna have a good time then. So all right, ladies and gentlemen, I am gonna leave BJ's Instagram link because that's basically where you're only active on, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have a YouTube, and if you want to watch, I did a YouTube video about.
And let me write that down too. I'm subscribed to your YouTube channel, even though you're not active on it, and it's on your YouTube channel. Well,
so what I did was I did a video at the 2018 Slut Walk. I just interviewed a lot of the girls there. It was kind of fun because I kind of I'm pretty good at arguing with them, but being friendly about it,
right?
And kind of making them feel that they're dumb. But that was like the trolling sort of thing, right? But then after that, I made a commentary video which I talked a lot about sexual marketplace and men and women's like attraction to each other, that sort of thing, which ends up being a video we talk about some of the same subjects. Might be worth watching.
Okay, so I'll get that video. Don't worry, I'll get the link and I'll have that available in the description box as well. Okay, so we'll have that video for your YouTube channel as well as your Instagram. So, all right then. Well, once again, thank you so much for coming by.
It was fun.
All right, and I will see you all next time. Okay, be sure to like the video, thumbs it up for me, share it with other people you know, and leave a comment down in the comment section. And I will see you all next time. Later, taters.
Bye.